I realized that something very mundane, routine, uh, very frequently we use this word, and sometimes we use this word so interchangeably with other terms. We'll soon see in the presentation. And when I started researching on this, I found that this is something very, very phenomenal, and it touches every aspect of our lives. And I thought that why not, bring out something very interesting from this research and present with in this group. So even though the title says how to be a successful mentor, we'll be actually looking at quite a quite number of related aspects to mentor, mentees, mentoring, the practice of mentoring, and other related practices which are often associated. And there are very very fine thin lines of separation, and it would really help to understand and differentiate one from the other. So let's see what this topic is about and how this is going to evolve in the next 45 to 50 minutes. I'll just keep this for you to those who are newcomers who've not seen my profile earlier. See my profile also. I've been talking about consulting, coaching, training, and mentoring, and then I also realized that when I use these terms, I need to have some very specific understanding or meaning about what it means to say when you're consulting or consultant, what it means to say when you are a coach, and again, coach can be different types. Rashmi is here, so she can have a much better explanation, understanding. So there are life coaches, there are agile coaches, and then there are ABC and sports and all that. So all of these terms are kind of interrelated. They have their intricacies, and uh, the practices overlap so much with each other. Anyway, so I'm happy to be here on this webinar, going to share my experience also on this topic, and then bring about something eclectic information drawn from multiple sources. One from a very competent person, Linda Jones, Phillips Jones. She is the authority. She has evolved this model of mentoring, and then she has an institute which provides consulting on this very important topic. So we'll keep to at a level where we can understand what these concepts are about, and then if anyone is interested, then we can go in a much advanced level based on the areas of interest. All right, so what we're going to discuss today, just ponder over some of the very basic concept level knowledge. What is mentoring all about? When we use the word mentor or mentoring, we seem to have a definition in our mind. But then I zeroed in on one very wonderful definition amongst all the hundreds and hundreds of definitions available when I was researching. And then I really like that definition. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll talk in mentoring in the context of mentor and a mentee. It's a one-to-one relationship, right? There are always going to be two people involved here, and who is who, and then what are their expectations and roles, and other uh, characteristics with regards to this relationship. We'll look into that. Why do we need mentors or mentoring? We'll try to answer that fundamental question. And if at all we think that we need mentors, or we need to go through the process of mentoring, what are the perceived benefits? And then the person who is playing the role of a mentor, how we can identify, or if we ourselves choose to be mentor, or someone asks us, approaches us, can you be my mentor? Then how can I be a successful mentor or an effective mentor? What kind of skills are I need to be a successful mentor? And what goes on between mentor and mentee? What does the relationship look like, right? And then some of the related topics that would be largely the agenda for, or let's say the backlog for today's session. And this will be very interactive. I don't have any kind of a interactive session on for collaboration, but interactive in the sense that a Q&A, and then we break into conversation. Try to again keep to the limit, and try to finish on time. So let's go to basics of who is a mentor, what is mentoring. So this is what I found when I was trying to research. So mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside you. Oprah Winfrey, her definition, learning from someone who wants you to grow. So there's someone out there, it could be my guardian, or could be a senior person, could be my colleague, anyone, someone who wants to grow. So we all grow, right? But then there is a term called growing up, right? So we all grow. We we grow biologically, we grow physically, but then growing up in terms of maturity, growing up in terms of capabilities, competencies, enhancing, enlarging our worldview, our outlook, our mindset, and learning from our experiences, trying to be more effective and efficient in the way that we approach our lives, our work. So across all these things, so do I really know that, do I really know that who is a mentor, what is mentoring, right? If I look at, these various definitions that is floating around, mentoring indeed is a very wide field. It is all encompassing. It could be, in terms of motivation, motivating someone. It could be like helping someone grow, helping someone be effective. And it can also be a little bit bordering towards, like a tutor's student relationship, right? As if, in the transaction analysis, you are having adult to child transactions when there's a child in you who would like to learn and seek more knowledge and learn. So it could be in terms of teachers, it could be someone senior than you. But then really what is mentoring? So I found this wonderful definition. It says that mentoring is a one-to-one relationship. So there are two parties involved here. One of the party or one of the person is experienced professional, who shares their knowledge, skills, and experience with someone who is less experienced. So let's say if I want to help myself, if I want to re-identify how can I grow, how can I enhance and further my career, I look up to someone who is more experienced than me. So I could find someone within my department, within my company, or I can find someone outside. So this is how the definition of mentoring goes, that it is a one-to-one relationship between an experienced professional and someone who is less experienced. And the purpose of this getting together is to have the senior professional, senior member, or experienced professional, experienced member pass on the learnings, help this junior person learn and be more effective. It could be in the professional space, like in the workspace, relate to career and job and opportunities and challenges. And also it could be to do in the personal space as well. But then that's where the things need to slightly drift away. We need to now focus on only core aspects of mentoring. So Linda Phillips Jones, she has given a very very specific, in fact very detailed. I found the literature very detailed, and I'm yet to finish my research on that. Read through the paper, and there's also mentor's guide available with a lot of checklists and exercises. I think leisure time we all can go through that. I'll share the references at the end of this session. In the meanwhile, if you want like to chime in, if you want to share your insights, your experiences, your terms and references, please feel free. This will be very interactive, and it will also help me, enhance my knowledge and my understanding about this very important key subject. Because I have been a mentor as well as been a mentee, and I continue to be a mentee. I have found a mentor, and I'm still in touch with my mentor, who is associated with me for a long time and is a foreign national, not an Indian nationality. Is abroad, and we still catch up, at some regular intervals and try to have these, relationship going on. So, who are mentors and mentees? So we talked about mentoring. It's a one-to-one relationship between two people. One of them is experienced and knowledgeable. One of them is less experienced and less knowledgeable. Then, how do we define the mentor and mentee? And can anyone like to add what, according to you, how can we define a mentor and a mentee? Now, since we already know about mentoring and try to become more specific in terms of definition, you can already see a picture here, two people in this frame, you can see.
Yeah, we can say someone who is a mentee, someone who's less experienced. May not be a fresher, because I've mentored people for project management as well as junior PMs. You bring them up to speed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Margaret. Lovely. So in this picture, can you tell me, can make a guess, which of the person or which of the lady seems to be a mentor or the mentee? I was also trying to answer that question myself when I pulled
this. Actually, the person who is in the red should be the mentee.
Should be the mentee.
And the white person should be the mentor, because you don't do it for the person. You tell them what to do, so they get a hang of it. But many people, they'll okay, now do it like this.
Wonderful. That's a wonderful perspective. Anyone like to share, like to add to what Margaret has just described?
I think it's the other way around. You know, maybe the person in the red is trying to explain, here is how I'm doing it, and here is what I need.
Yeah.
And probably she's taking a step back and listening and trying to,
Listen to this person, what she's trying to show on the screen. Yeah,
yeah.
Rashmi, thanks. Yeah, so that's the way to look at it, right? And then it's not like that a mentor is a mentor and a mentee is a mentee. Sometimes mentee can also mentor his or her mentor. So it's a kind of a dual relationship. But again, when this relationship sets in, it's an ongoing thing unless and until both the parties agree to kind of dissociate, and when the goals are achieved or the purpose is achieved, and then there's no further, in a formal sense, like of course socially they can still be in touch, they can still be, continue to socialize with each other, but mentor-mentee relationship has some specific expectations, and it's kind of a working on a kind of a roadmap or a set of goals and objectives, and once these are achieved or fulfilled, then I think the people can go their ways and all. Yeah, but again, it's not like kind of a right or wrong answer, but again, it's a nice perspective to see that, it could be, yeah, this person who we think that she's kind of navigating something and try to explain, and this person is very, very keenly, attentively listening to what is being told or what is being described. Yeah, without further ado, so let's see, if we have to see mentor, knowledgeable experience in their field. Yeah, but they are not like kind of experts. But yeah, they have built their knowledge. Let's say someone in the R&D space, in delivery management space, someone in business analysis, product management. That way you can see these are knowledgeable experience in their field, and they have made their own efforts in reaching up to that level where they can share that knowledge, their experience, with other people, same field. And in this context of mentor and mentee relationship, they pass on their wisdom gained through their own experience. So they say, okay, this is how I did, this is how I learned. These are the kind of mistakes I committed, and through this mistake, these are my learnings. This is how I become better person or a better professional. That's where they pass on all this wisdom. It's like from a guru to the student or guru to the shishya. And in this context of mentor-mentee relationship, they invest time in knowing their mentees very well. So as a mentor, they have their accountability in terms of understanding their mentee. What motivates their mentee? What are the choices they make? What are their career choices? What motivates them? What are their other, like kind of doing a SWOT analysis? What are their areas, blind spots, and all that? And once they get into this relationship, they will commit. And they will have this sense of commitment because it's going to be kind of an ongoing journey, at least for some time. They'll commit to the mentees and assess their capabilities, interests, ambitions, their aspirations, what they aspire to be, and how they can help them progress further in their career. Similarly, mentee also has their kind of task cut out or their share of responsibility. They also have to show some high degree of commitment to seek learning from their mentor, right? And then they have to show that interest. And in fact, they have a much more major role to play because it is about their growth, it is about their progression. So they have to take the responsibility in their hand. They have to show a high sense of ownership. It's not that the mentor, they think that the mentor is a senior person. So unless mentor invites me, how can I go and book a time on the calendar? In fact, it's the other way around. So when I was like being mentored by a senior person, so it was upon me to look at the calendar, set up the meetings, exchange emails, share some kind of a progress status update and all that with my mentor, right? So you need to have that basic capability to do clear self-assessment. These are the areas, you cannot be like start discussing. Yeah, of course, initial meetings would be about exploration and discovery, and then zeroing on, okay, 3 areas or 2 areas which are really interested in improving, or we can focus on for the next 3 months or next 6 months. So you need to have that capability to do clear self-assessment. You can use any tool, but then you need to come up with some kind of a assessment. Okay, these are the things I really want to improve, and if someone could really help me in this area. So be honest, be transparent about your SWOT, your strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats can then be the further part of the exploration and the further discussion. And then when you get into this relationship, you need to have some kind of a plan, an executable plan where you identify certain areas, certain tasks are being assigned to you, which your mentor will work with you along the way, and these are aimed at self improvement. in those specified targeted areas. And then you need to execute upon the plan. And you have to have the ownership to execute, work on that plan as discussed with the mentor. And whenever you think there are some changes coming in, you need to make change along the way and then keep keep this plan ongoing and keep your mentor updated. So this is about mentor and mentee, and then what mentor essentially be focusing on is explore the mentee's current career situation where this person. So let's say there's a person who's already playing the role of a Scrum Master and is aspiring to be a delivery manager or aspiring to be a senior Scrum Master, or maybe some other career track he or she aspires to be, wants to go into product management or like to, and he found this person very renowned, knowledgeable in the space of product management. So try to identify how this person can help me, and change my track change my career track or career path at this stage in my career, something like that. And what they wish to achieve and how they go about doing it, and without. So this is not going to be kind of a prescriptive, even though the method could be like kind of, this is how I did, this were the mistakes I made, this is how lesson I've learned. Let us work on this plan. Can you work on these tasks or these kind of assignments? Let us see how these assignments turn out. But then this will not be like prescriptive or will not be offering any ready-made solutions. Right? Then I think this will not be very effective for the reasons well known. So when, as a coach, we often bump into these topics, right? Whenever we are meeting clients or we are working with our teams, both inside organization or externally with our clients and other partners. So you often ask this question about, coaching, mentoring, consulting, even counseling, which is kind of rare, but then we often have seen people, especially people from human resources and people in organization development department, they talk about like counseling. So during my research, I found this wonderful explanation. This is by Mandar Kulkarni. He is also a great consultant. I found his profile on LinkedIn and pulled out this research. So it's very interesting. So this is a 4-quadrant, 2-axis template. So on the x-axis from left to right, it is focus area where you want to focus. If you want to focus on problem, you focus on the left hand side. That's where you see the problem. And I mean the problem here, the label. And on the right hand side, if you're focusing on the solution, so your focus is to look at the problem or to look at the solution. And this x-axis is dissected in the center by this y-axis, which is the approach, which talks about the approach you take. So if you're asking questions like an inquiry, right? Then let's say you're trying to find out what really is the problem. You're asking questions. Then you are actually playing the role of a counseling. Let's say, for example, counseling sometimes are like therapists who are trying to understand did anything happen to this person in the past? Is this person going through any kind of a trauma or had a traumatic experience? What are the causes? So there'll be a lot of asking questions and trying to find what the problem is. So that will be like counseling. So if you're focusing on the problem, but you're then telling the client, this is your problem, this is what you need to do. This template will help you. If you change this setting or configuration, it will help solve that problem for you. So this, you're in a consulting. Typically, when you're a consultant, you tell, okay, fine, your Jira board is not set up properly, your workflow is not well defined. Why don't you, go ahead and set up this Jira board or define your workflow process? So you're playing the role of a consultant or you're doing consulting here. And just a moment, if you just want to change your focus from, problem exploration to, solution, discovering solution or solutioning. And again, for solutioning, when you are asking questions, you're actually playing the role of a coach. That's what typically coach do. They do not offer any solution, but they ask insightful questions that helps the person unravel, what is blocking this person or what is really impacting the person in terms of the challenges, in terms of mental blocks or any other barriers that is preventing this person from realizing his or her true potential. So that's kind of you're playing the role of a coach here. And on the bottom quadrant, you are actually when you're telling this is how I did it, why don't you do it this way, and then see whether it helps you or works for you. This is how you are playing the role of a mentor. I found this very interesting because, interchangeably, these are like kind of not clearly demarcated. There will be a lot of overlap areas here, but then knowing one from the other really helps to understand that do we really need to put on the hat of a mentoring given a situation, or do we need to put on the hat of a coach? So you could be playing, I don't know, but I'm thinking that, yeah, depending on the situation, on the context, or what kind of assignment you have on hand, and once you have gone through initial discovery, then you find out whether, which of this hat you like to put on to help either solve a problem or discover a problem, discover the underlying causes for the problem, or if if you could offer a solution. Any comments on this? Anything you'd like to share? Any experience you'd like to share on
Correct.
this?
Hiren.
Yes.
Very, very interesting topic, very current topic. But my question is that, one thing very peculiar in the IT industry is like you may be a director or a CXO or a vice president, but when you deal with the uh, youngsters have just come out of the college or less experienced than you.
Mm-hmm.
As a director or vice president, you have experiential learning. You are very hands-on, and you have seen generations for last 2 or 3 decades.
Yeah.
But you know that mentee who comes out of the college is more skillful, highly very smart and intelligent, because that young person is very good in terms of machine language or the artificial intelligence, metaverse, the current skills that young people they have. I may not be having. It is true, and even in the boardroom also we know that most of the youngsters, they are better, have better skills than the mentor. So many times I have observed this in the IT industry. However, we smile and we bring everything on the face. I know more than you. But in the IT industry, always the other person feels that I know more than you, which is true. Which is true.
Yes.
It is very subjective and multiple skills and all. You always have more skills than me, but still I have to do mentoring. So that is what is happening these days, especially when we deal with the people in multiple countries and multiple geographies. How do you deal with
it? Yeah. This is what you're talking initially. Yeah.
You are a senior guy, but that guy is more skillful than you. But still you have to do mentoring.
So I would like to see it in this way, Shri. Wonderful, wonderful point. I know that's a fantastic question. I really appreciate that, Shri. So let's for a moment, try to see these things, differentiate from each other. One is the skill. Skill is one area. The other is experience, right? So there could be any kind of a combination, right? You have a skills in certain area. You have skills in project management. You have skills in architecture. You have skills in product management. So these you have got core technical skills. But look at this student who has just come out, and he has got the knowledge, he has got the skills, but he has not got the experience. I wouldn't say that even he has got the complete knowledge, right? So what you have learned in theory in the book is not necessarily the same as what you have applied in the real world. So this comes with experience and application of the knowledge, right? So how well you are able to apply those skills and knowledge in solving real world problems. You are a wonderful, you got super grades, 90 percentile and all that. You're good in C sharp, .NET or Java. Now you're given a real world problem. You require other skills in, finding out solutions or trying to solve the real world problem, building a better product and all that. Anyway, I mean, this can go on that. But when you're looking at mentor, I mean, we'll again talk about this further in the slides upcoming. So either it could be that you are assigned, so you have volunteered to be a mentor. So now, based on the mentoring program that many organizations run nowadays, either you could be assigned as a mentor, or someone can approach you and ask you, like it has happened with me, uh, I was both a mentor as well as a mentee. So it works either way. You can find someone and approach and ask that person, I've heard a lot about you, and I've looked at your profile and all that. I think, it would really help me if you could be my mentor. So that way, right? Now, once this thing happens, then you have to identify, is this relationship going to stick? Is this really going to be a fruitful exercise, right? Let's say uh, you have someone who is into business development, and your career choice is, let's say, architecting, you want to become a junior architect and senior architect. Do you think that this person would be really, why don't you find someone who is a well-known architect, right, as your mentor, who has been, had high degree of visibility and then is a sought after person, someone who you look up to, right? Who do you really want your mentors like, right? Someone who can look up to. They have a lot to offer. They have got good amount of knowledge and experience to pass on that wisdom to you, right? So it's that's why I thought of bringing this topic, because we seem to know that this is what it is, but then there are other dimensions to it, right, Shri? So there are no like kind of right or wrong answers here, yeah. But then we have to really think about it, like what is the context? What context we are talking? Are we talking in terms of people development? It's a vast topic in itself. People development is kind of a roadmap. I have a 1.0 development plan for my junior developers, and I have a 2.0 development plan for my mid-level developers, and I have a 3.0 development plan for my senior developers or other people. So it's that way. You have to find out the real context of what this relationship is going to be like. But a wonderful question. I really appreciate that, Sri. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else has anything else to share?
If I might add a bit.
Tell me.
It's perhaps, what Sri just said about new people or people who are younger. I shall give a small example. I hope I don't take more than 2-3 minutes.
Go ahead.
Going back 15 years, I think most of you are aware, I work on projects for UK government most of the time, and these are all high profile, this highly sensitive and top secret and all that kind of bullshit. But anyways, so almost 15 years back, I was in a project for HMRC, that is the UK's taxman, what you call ITO in India, HMRC in the UK, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. And I was working on that project. And as we do in the UK, we finish the day. After 5 o'clock, the day is over. The first thing we do is go to the pub for a pint of beer.
Yeah.
And then we go home. So I was there in the pub, and I saw this young Indian guy. He sat with a cup of coffee. Yeah. Now, we Indians, we don't like to throw money. So I'm thinking in my mind, is this guy gone mad? He's sitting in a pub,
having a coffee.
Having a coffee. That coffee is going to cost him about £4. Right across the road is a Costa. He can get that same coffee there for £1.50. Why is he sitting here? So anyway, I took my pint, and because he was obviously an Indian, and I said, excuse me, can I share the table? He said, yes, welcome, please. So I sat down. I said, what do you do? So I said, sir, you didn't recognize I'm actually in the project on which you are working.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I said, well, I'm sorry, but I mean, there's more than 50 people on that project. I can't remember each and every one of you. And we got talking. And,
obviously, that's and especially if your team is growing, and then every week or every month you're onboarding new people, then you may not even recognize you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I asked him, I said, if you don't mind, where are you from and what are you doing? He says, no, I'm here from Tech Mahindra. I said, okay, great. I said, if you don't mind, can I ask, obviously you are kind of a junior project guy. What's your, how much is Tech Mahindra paying you? And he said about, 1,500. I was shocked. I said, what? 1,500? I said, even an admin guy is paid £3,000. Anyway, I didn't say that to his face. In my mind, I was thinking, this guy is, and I said, okay, what's your background? Now, if I almost fainted, if I tell you his answer. He was a BE Computer Science from IIT Powai.
Wonderful. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So I said, have you gone mad? You have left Mumbai, you have come to London, and you're working for such a paltry sum. I said, if you had stayed in Mumbai, you could have got more money. Why the hell have you come here? And that, you see his answer. He said, sir, if I had lived in Mumbai, I could not have learned what I'm learning here. I said, what do you mean? He says, sir, you don't remember me, but in these 6 months, you don't know how much I've learned from you. He says, you know 14 languages. I'm talking about coding languages, yeah? C and C plus and da-da-da-da. He says, you know 14 languages. My dean did not know more than 4. He says, that is what I'm here for. I'm not here just for the money. But the learning and experience and exposure which I'm getting here, I will never get it there.
Yeah.
No matter how much money I will earn in Mumbai, I will not get so much learning. In 6 months, what I have learned from you, I did not learn in 4 years in IIT.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This guy is really having his head on his shoulders. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then, of course, to be honest, I became his mentor.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you got a mentee and the mentee got a wonderful mentor, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I was wonderful, but anyways, but I hope this answers what Sri was asking. Just because a guy is fresh or new or junior, it doesn't mean, he still wants to learn.
Yeah.
End of the day, that's what.
Even Arjuna had to learn from Dronacharya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though he was the best archer of his time, he had to learn. All right, wonderful. That's a wonderful example. No, I really like that. So then again, let's see. Then we really like to understand this better through an example. Just like a teacher will try to elaborate on the topic by giving some better explanations. So let's say coaching. If I'm talking about like coaching, so let's have a somewhat better. So according to International Coaching Federation (ICF), they issue a lot of certification. They've got a very specific technical definition of coaching, like partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Amazing. That's a completely out of the blue kind of a definition. And consulting, a consultant is an expert who is called on for professional or technical advice or opinions. Like in your HMRC, I'm sure there must be some tax consultant who will know the tax system in and out, and they know the system. So they are the experts in, they call for professional technical advice, and they're relied on to understand the problem and present solutions. So consulting is unlike coaching, because with pure coaching, the focus is future orientation. It's all about like future, and that's where they go into insightful questions, ask the client the questions, and try to discover, what are the blocks, what are the mental blocks, other kind of blocks and barriers that is preventing this client from realizing his or her true potential. Mentoring again is like a wise and trusted guide and advisor. He or she can be a teacher that shares experience while bringing the mentee up the ranks. Try to uplift the mentee up the ranks. So gradually in a process. This is where you begin. This is where you have to go through this journey, and then find if at all there's any kind of a goal or objective, try to arrive at that point. So regarding coaching, this is what I learned, that it is not necessarily the subject matter expert. Because when I was in a coaching session a few years ago, and this person who was giving the session on coaching, I asked him, that what about these sports coaches? We see these people, coaching Sachin Tendulkar, coaching Roger Federer, or coaching, the clubs, football clubs, Barcelona, and Real Madrid, and all these clubs. So these people, they happen to be themselves good players. But then this person told me, I can coach anyone in this world. I can coach Sachin Tendulkar, I can coach Roger Federer, I can even coach musicians like Kishore Kumar or Lata Mangeshkar. So coach is not necessarily the subject matter expertise in order to help the other client, but coaching is the subject matter expertise at the field, at his or her own field of coaching, right? So this is a clear distinguishing mark here. Counselors are therapists and are trained to diagnose, and help clients with emotional stuff. The people like psychotherapists and psychiatrists, and these are like therapists. It's a different world altogether. I'm no one to talk about it. I'm not an expert, but then we often talk about therapists, and they have to run through different therapy and they're trained to diagnose. They're trained to diagnose and help the client, typically with emotional problems, what happened in the past or in the childhood, and then and then any dysfunctions, psychological problems. This is not, I don't think that we are kind of psychologists, so we should not be attempting to go in that unless you are certified professionals or certified therapists. Again, as I was saying, coaches domain is future oriented. What does the client want? What they're aiming for? What they're aspiring for? Then they coach the client to reach that, help reach their desired destination. So these are the kind of little bit better explanation, just to have more clarity about these four terms we seem to use so freely, in our profiles, in our resumes, and even when we're talking to clients. So next time, I think at least I'll be more careful when I put these terms on my profile, or when I'm interacting with my client and I use these terms interchangeably. So this was kind of a great learning experience for me. Okay, then I was still not satisfied. Thought, no, I need some better understanding. Let's go by an example. Okay, fine. So what is this example? I think it's very intuitive to know what kind of example is this I'm trying to learn. These four concepts. So I'm this kid who's trying to learn a bike, right? And this person behind me could be my uncle, could be my father, could be my neighbor, anyone, right? So let's look at by this example what each of these term means. So let's say if I'm following a counseling technique, right? So counselor will help you overcome your fears. Maybe I'm afraid I can't ride bicycle. I'm afraid that I might fall or I might injure myself or hurt myself. Or I have tried, but I have never been able to get onto the bike, let alone ride the bike. And then one day, through this counseling, this person will help me overcome my fears, or maybe put on a helmet, or on a deserted lane where there's no distraction, there's no traffic, or there's no possibility of any injury, right? So concept will help you overcome your fears, past failures, and one day you'll be able to ride your bike successfully. Okay, let's say if I'm consulting, through consulting technique or approach, this guy is going to tell you all the details, the specification of the bike, which model year, the gears, and this and that and all that. It will tell you the most efficient way to ride it, right? This has this kind of a gearbox, or it has this size of tires, and how you can ride this bike very effectively and efficiently. So this is how a consulting approach would be there. And if I'm following the mentoring technique or mentoring approach, right? So there's this mentor will hop on the bike and have you watch. Okay, you know what? This is how you ride the bike. Let me show you how you do it. So I'll get on the bike and then ride, take a round, and then show this guy. No, now you please get on. Now we'll see. Tell me how you're going to ride this bike. So this is exactly how the mentors help their mentees. They show them this is how I did or how I've done, and then why don't you try and do it yourself, and then they'll see whether you're able to ride the bike yourself or not. And last but not the least, interestingly, coaching. These are the guys totally in a different dimension altogether. All of us, like, right, Vijay? All of us like agile coach and all that. A coach will measure your speed. He will be having this stopwatch in his hand. Okay, start. And then go 100 yards, and then I'll clock the time. Once you're back from the track, they'll sit down and then figure out what is the ideal results you want to achieve, and they'll put you in the context. If you imagine if you're to ride your bike in a race, this is no good. Maybe you need to clock it faster. So they'll then figure out what is the difference between your goal and reality. This is what you're clocking. So this is coach. Let's say you're coaching Usain Bolt, and Usain Bolt want to break the barrier of 9.59 world record, right? Ben Johnson's record. So then Usain Bolt will be coached to find out, this is the gap. You're still 0.05 milliseconds from that world record. So you need to, you need to shape up, you may need to go through the gym, or you need to increase your muscle strength and whatever that are required to break that world record. So I think with this example is able to understand even much better what are these four terms and what are the various what are the approaches underlying these areas of field and their practices. Any thoughts on this? I think this is now getting much more clear and better. All right, I'll continue. So now that we know what's mentoring, let's ask why we need a mentor, right? I mean, this is all we have know what is mentoring and what are some of these related areas, why we need a mentor. So first thing, I would say that a good mentor is a great source of inspiration and motivation. There are times, when I'm stuck in my career, when I'm not getting any insights on how do I go from here? Shall I stay here? Shall I find a new job? Or this thing is a kind of, I'm getting into a rut. and then this mentor comes and then help with the short-term and long-term goals and get you on the right track, right? So this is one of the main reasons I think that we need a mentor, especially when we are put on a critical assignments or critical roles, and you have self doubts. You're not sure whether you will be successful, or maybe you are in a kind of, as let's say, in a kind of a deep shit kind of role or responsibility, and I don't know how to get out of this situation. So they are a good source of inspiration. Then the guidance and encouragement. If you are really lucky and very fortunate to have a very good or a great mentor, and these mentors, they are great people, consultants as well. I mean, they are very people oriented. I have seen them with whoever that I have worked with, and have been fortunate enough to have them as my mentors. They give a lot of guidance, a lot of encouragement, and sometimes they show up like new opportunities, which was kind of unknown to us till that point of time. So we didn't realize, oh, this is what I can do, or maybe this is another way to do it, or maybe this is another career path that I can pursue. Right? So they help you find new opportunities. They also help in the process of self-discovery. A good mentor can help find your dark or blind spots, and then offer suggestions that enable you to improve your skills. So this is another reason I think that if we have a mentor, it could really help us or help me. Uh, while life experiences. So again, to that point, Sri, like, right, while education and training is essential, having a good mentor around who's been there and done that can help turn your job into a fruitful career. So this person, can tell and give some nice gems of wisdom, that don't do those mistakes which I did. So maybe what help you get onto the right track from day one, on the right path from day one. So this is another thing that a good mentor, a great mentor, would really help with his or her life experiences to share. Accountability, yes, a good mentor will count on you to execute on the plan and produce the desired results. So learning to take ownership of one's growth is crucial. So this is also, to build the discipline and accountability, for our own growth, for our own development, and to turn out to be a good professional or a good citizen or a good person. A good mentor will really help. And this mentor also will challenge you. Great mentor wants you to succeed, see you succeed. So he will test your limits and challenge you to discover your talents, or to think outside of your comfort zone, or think outside of the box and think of new ideas, new approaches, new techniques, new methods. So I think these are good enough reasons why we think that we need it. I would wish that everyone have a mentor, and then try to keep this relationship sacrosanct. Try to keep it sacrimonious, and then have that commitment to that. You can have your time for socializing, but then also try to utilize the time fruitfully in making real progress. You should see that progress in terms of building new competencies, new capabilities, and that's how you should be utilizing your mentor's time. At any point, if you have anything to share, please stop, and I can break into conversation. But I'll be just flying through the slides. So then, what are the benefits, perceived benefits of mentoring? Right? As you would have seen by now, that why we need mentoring in the first place, and what benefits then I can have. Mentors. One wonderful thing I've seen is the mentors can help you build your network, right? And since they are known personalities, they are acclaimed personalities, in their respective fields, so they have a wide network. They can introduce you to the network, and they can recommend you to the network. Let's say if any possible opportunity is there. Of course, this is not part of the relationship, but then if they know you very well, they know your strengths and weaknesses, and they think that by grabbing this opportunity, you're gonna progress further in your career. They can put you onto those channels or those networks. So mentors can help build your network, expand your network, right? And also it becomes a point of maintaining good professional relationships. Yes, we are good friends. We have a lot of other things in terms of common interests that we pursue, whether we like to travel, we are fond of reading and music, but then maintaining a professional relationship, someone who you can look up to get your answers in the professional area. Like, say, for example, what are the new trends in cloud technology? What are the new trends in data science and all that? So if you know someone, in that professional network, then it will be really beneficial to you. It's kind of an information exchange. You get into that information exchange, you share as well as you receive. Good quality information related to your profession or your occupation or your areas of interest. Next is, getting to know your mentor's experience will broaden your perspectives. It kind of change your worldview. This is why I was thinking about my career, my future, my organization, my country. All this will get new dimensions. It will expand your worldview will really broaden out. So your perspectives also will evolve. When you learn from someone, when you see from someone, when you hear people talk about their experiences, what they have done, how it has helped them progress in their career, it will also open up your perspectives. And yes, mentors are on your side and provide you support for. So in case if you any day you think that you need someone who you can talk to, who will listen to you, who will understand your problems, and try to give answers to your questions that you have, their mentors are always there on your side and provide you support for. So whenever I had any kind of a vexing questions for which I wouldn't have any answer, I would approach me. Sorry, anyone? Go ahead, please. Anyone like to share anything here?
That's a good one.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. No worries. So I just got a power cut here, and
How is Mary?
I'll just switch off my video for a moment.
Mary.
Yeah. So and then the last but not least, it can help you remain focused on the end goals and targets. So they will ensure that you build that discipline, that commitment, and see this relationship as a professional relationship and work on the plan that you both have agreed. So these are the perceived benefits of the mentoring, for you. Any questions on this slide from anyone? Okay, all right. So we'll proceed further. So this is from Linda Phillips Jones, about who I referred to in the beginning. PhD. I mean, she has her own. She's created her own mentoring model, mentoring templates, mentor's guide, which will really help. So what we can see here in this again I picked up from her literature. So there are the mentee specific skills that you can see on the left hand side. There are mentor specific skills that you see on the right hand side. But then there are certain skills which are like common, which are shared core skills. So for example, listening actively or active listening is a key skill which applies equally to both the mentor and the mentee. So whenever they're having a meeting, whenever they are having conversation, or they're talking through the important tasks or assignments, let's say in the first meeting they're discussing about working on some of the tasks, and say, in the next meeting I want you to work on this task, and then we'll talk about it. We'll see if you have any further questions, or this has helped you solve your problem to an extent or not, right? And this also will have a direct bearing on building trust, right? So the trust is kind of an ongoing development. As you interact more, you try to make this a commitment from both the parties. You try to make your time available. You book your time on the calendar. You listen. You agree to work together on a plan. So all these are factors that lead to building high degree of trust between the mentor and the mentee. And encouraging, yeah. So encouraging is not like one way street where the mentor tries to encourage, but I've seen in some cases where even sometimes mentor also benefit from the mentee. If the mentee is showing a lot of enthusiasm, lot of positive energy, this could be encouraging for the mentor as well. Oh, this person is really taking interest, is really committed, and very keen on learning and improving. And this relationship will not really make progress or help if you do not have clearly identified goals or have done a good assessment. So it's very important to really for the mentor to understand what's the current state with the mentee, where he or she is now, what she aspires to be, what are the ambitions and aspirations for this, what this person really want to be or grow up to be, or would like to progress in which area. So this assessment, and along with that the goals, if you are able to carve out that kind of a goals, both short term as well as long term. Let's say someone say, that right now I'm director, but I really want to be the VP of this department, of this function unit in the next 3 years. Now there should be some kind of a plan, there should be some kind of a way. And this senior person, who's mentor, who has been there and done that, can really help this person set out some kind of a goals to which will lead in that direction. There are other mentee specific skills. Let's talk about like acquiring mentors. So mentees also have to shoulder the responsibility of approaching the mentors or booking their time. So if the organization is already running a well-defined mentoring programs, many organizations I've seen that they have internal programs, even they have external members on the board, especially for the senior people like director and above. They try to identify from across the divisions. Like in Siemens, we could approach anyone in that whole entire Siemens world. For 4,50,000 employees. So we would go and look at international locations, whether in Germany or US, and in our own respective, vertical, whether in the healthcare vertical or industry vertical or any other vertical like that, right? So mentee has to show real interest in booking of the mentors. Like it's not necessarily within the organization. You can find someone outside. You can connect with people on LinkedIn or on any other social media network, and if you find this person is competent, you've done some research on this person, and this person has been very active in the field, been publishing papers and whatnot, you can book the time and get introduced and ask this person to be your mentor. Yes, mentee is expect to learn quick learner, and showing initiative, following through on the action plan, and then managing the relationship. We share the equal responsibility of managing the relationship by adhering to these behavioral attributes. On the other side, mentor specific skills, uh, take genuine and real authentic interest in mentees concerns or development plans, whatever. So instructing and developing capabilities and identifying spots, those weak areas, and then help candidates overcome those deficiencies, either in terms of capabilities or competencies. Be inspiring. You should have enough stories for yourself or from your experience to inspire this person. Like imagine if Rahul Dravid is the coach for the India Under-19 World Cup squad, and then how inspiring he would be for his team, right? Similarly, in the similar fashion, then providing corrective, authentic, genuine feedback, right, without any kind of a sugar coating. But then you see that there are certain deficiencies, and you should be plainly, honestly, without sounding abrasive or arrogant or not in a very genuine, authentic way. Provide corrective feedback. The purpose is to help the mentee improve himself. Managing risk is also one aspect which I learned, and when I was reading through this particular skill, I found that especially when mentees are on their upward path, when they are growing, then they have been promoted and they have been given some key specific assignments. Because of their inherent lack of understanding or lack of, let's say, even say lack of foresight or maturity, they may be running several risks. If even one wrong step or one wrong decision, it can result in big damage. It could ruin their reputation or organization's reputation, or they may not be able to network, navigate. As you see, navigating through the corporate network is itself like navigating through the jungle where there are a lot of predators are there. So a good mentor will ensure that the proper risk management. So when I was reading this article, Linda Jones article, I was not sure what this really meant. When I started reading this managing risk section in the book, then I was really enlightened to know. Said, yeah, this is. I mean, I wish that someone was there to tell me, how to navigate, how to build those trust relationships of trust with other stakeholders, because everyone have their own stake, everyone they have their own expectations, and everyone had tried to draw the what we call in a very ugly way. Everyone try to protect their turf. So how do we get our things, and how do we get to the negotiation ground in a win-win situation without hurting anyone, without crossing anyone's path? So these are some of the very fine skills that a good mentor can pass on to the mentee. And yeah, definitely opening up doors, new vistas for opportunity and new possibilities with a very positive attitude and positive mindset. So this is a great article. I would insist that those who are especially in this role of coaching, consulting, I think they must read this phenomenal article. I will share the link at the end of the presentation. So what are the attributes of great mentor? There could be many, and there are many, as you can see here, right? So honesty, flexibility, and all these communication skills. Obviously, communication skills. Authenticity, I think I would put authenticity and integrity. I would put really at the top. A great these attributes, will not only make great mentor but also a great professional, and people will look up to you direction, for input, for inspiration, for motivation. So with this authenticity and integrity, you come across as very positive optimist, uh, showing empathy, and then with the foundation, human values of dedication, commitment, and hard work. So instead of writing paragraph, I thought of capturing this in a. This is actually from a very interesting article I found from American Heart Association. So it's an apex body in US, American Heart Association, which looks at cardiac and cardiac related things in the healthcare domain. So they had run this program for mentoring, and I captured this, and I was looking for what are those attributes of great mentor, and this really helped me pinpoint zero on some of the great attributes of a very highly effective or successful mentor. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Graham. We have already
yes.
reached 8:37. How many more minutes?
10 minutes would be okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I know I'm also keeping track of the time. Yeah.
Sure.
So how far we can go, Vijay? Let me ask.
Yeah. Anybody on the call?
Okay. Yeah. Good, interesting. I think another 5-10 minutes is all right. Jay.
All right. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. We'll continue. Yeah.
But just one question, to you. Great thoughts. But if you look at the IT industry, the IT industry is very peculiar in terms, very, very peculiar. Like we all, as a leader, we allow them to inject bugs and then produce defects. And then we tell them somebody to test later. Any other industry, take aviation, food industry, or healthcare, or manufacturing, no industry works like this. All other industries except IT, first they test, produce, release into the market. IT still today, IT is still promoting you as a mentor. You allow your mentees to inject bugs, produce defects, tell them there is somebody to test it later. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's a very good observation. I recently saw a similar kind of write-up on LinkedIn by someone. Okay. And so the inference is like this, but you've got a wonderful point here. And I really appreciate that. IT, when you create bug, inject bug, I mean, so far, except for few critical domains like healthcare and all that, these bugs have not killed anyone. But you see, Boeing Max, the bugs that were inadvertently introduced, what happened? They killed people, right?
So, but if your mentee tells you, mentee will come back and tell you as a mentor, you allowed me to inject bugs, create defects, then you will come back and do mentoring. If that kind of mentee asks you that question,
the one way to look at it is, fine. So we all make mistakes. It is human to make mistakes, but then as humans, we have to learn. So if we continue to make the same mistakes, then I think we are not learning. Or maybe there's something really, really wrong. So we have to have that spirit of learning and continuously improving, right? Yes, other industries, they also have true systems approach and all that. Like, other day I was talking on Toyota production system, Kanban and all that. So people have been improving. People are trying to be more efficient, more effective, right? So it's the entire humanity is on the path to become much better. So we continue to make mistakes, we continue to keep on learn. And that's how we pass on this wisdom to the juniors, that don't make the same mistake that we made. And why don't you try to get things right on the first day? That's what I think the mentors should be looking at when they are interacting with their mentees. But good point. That was fantastic. Good observation, Shrey. Yeah. All right. So these are some tips for successful mentor-mentee relationship. It has its own, I would say, a degree of it's very pious relationship according to me. It's a very noble relationship. It's not a trivial. It's not that okay, one fine day you meet, okay, hey Rakesh, let's have it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks we have not met each other. I don't think that's the way to really have a mentor-mentee relationship. It is, you have to maintain the dignity of that relationship and try to keep it formal and professional. Yes, of course, you can keep it to a degree of where to a high degree of pervasiveness, where you try to keep you be vulnerable, you open up yourself, and then build that trust factor with your mentor or mentee, and then try to help each other. So keep communications open. Yes, that will really help. That's what I was trying to say. To keep communications open, transparent, offer support, define clear expectations. Try to be clear. Don't make it like very, very generic, very broad based. Define clear expectations. Continue to be in touch. Maintain contact through email, through phone, or through WhatsApp, other channels. Be honest and truthful. Actively participate. Take very genuine, authentic interest and participate in the activities that are being outlined, that are being earmarked for you. Also try to find new ways, think outside of the box and try to be creative, innovative, and try to find better solutions, typically to the vexing problems that have been really hitting you, or that is kind of holding you onto the ground, not able to progress further. Get to know each other. Get to know each other not just through the profile on your LinkedIn profile, but get to know really each other, your likes, dislikes, your motivation, your taste, your preferences, your worldviews, your choices that you make, the life choices, the career choices. And the better you understand, better you know each other, you have a better understanding, and that's where you're in a better position to help each other, or especially help your mentee. Be reliable and consistent. Come across as someone, because that's going to build up your persona, your reputation, your credibility, which is very important. Building credibility is I think, very significant, especially when you are upward path, in your progression of your career. So you need to be very reliable and consistent. Be seen as such, and at the last, stay positive. So these are tips for a successful mentor-mentee relationship. And then I think I've got just one more slide to finish. When also, when it can become ineffective, when you think that the mentor is a fountain of all knowledge, that's a high expectation, I would say. And if you get into this channel for finding jobs, that this person is a top shot and is a well-known personality, and he can find me some, very lucrative positions and jobs. That I don't think that's the purpose of this relationship. Solving problem, try to find the solution by yourself. We can show you the way. We can show you, what all things can go wrong here for you. So try to give you some tips. But then eventually you have to walk that path and try to solve the problems for yourself. No, this cannot be a counseling or therapy. If the mentor feels that the problems, the nature of the problem is different, it is something to do where you think that this person needs a therapist, then the mentor can refer the mentee to a therapist or to someone else. If the nature of the problem that the mentee is going through is totally different, it is something to do with emotional trauma or something else that is outside the scope of this mentor-mentee relationship. Yes, advice or suggestions on personal problems. No, I don't think so. There's again going to be some kind of a thin separation or a boundary here. To a certain extent, yes. If you think that the mentor is in a position, to help figure out, if it is something to do with a different mindset, if it is something to do with some bad habits or wrong habits, then yes. But if something to do with like absolutely personal and private problems with the family or in personal life, then I think mentor should stay out of that and not tread on that territory. Let the counselor or therapy handle that. And yes, this is not going to be teaching or lecturing. Open a book, open chapter, look at paragraph 1 and look at section number 3. No, it's not going to be teaching by the book. It is going through life experiences. And this is where, Peter Sengen's famous book, Fifth Discipline, also mentions that these skills are part of personal mastery. You're trying to be. We often, as coaches, we often talk about natural progression in terms of this Japanese concept called shuhari. You continue to evolve. It's a kind of a journey, an ongoing journey, not a destination. All right. So, what's the conclusion? It's isn't about mainly about changing someone or getting someone to do something different. It's about waking someone up to realize self-realization and who they really are, what they're capable of, and what they can do, achieve, accomplish in their life. So it means that mentors' challenge is to distill their own experience to small, bite size. You cannot just offer entire book into encyclopedia. So let the person go through small chunks of wisdom, and in a progressive way try to help them step up in the life. So this is from Julie Starr, another competent authority on this topic. I got this quote during my research. A good and productive mentoring relationship with the right person will provide huge benefits to both the parties, both the mentors and mentee. So it is well worth spending time to find a suitable mentor. And I would recommend to everyone here that it doesn't mean that, okay, I'm 25 years, 20 years, and I'm experienced. I can still go and seek a mentor. Or if someone approaches me, I can also, sign up as the mentor for that person. So this will be really helpful for your learning and development. With this, I'm at the end, Vijay, and these are all the wonderful references. If you want, you can take note of this. So this is by far the best, the Mentor's Guide and Skills for Successful Mentoring, Linda Phillips Jones, and some of the other references which I pursued during my search on this topic. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Any questions? I hope you found this topic interesting. So I had to rush. But it was a very interesting topic. Let me tell you that.
Very relevant for today.
Very relevant, very interesting topic. I mean, this can be a very huge topic as well.
Thank you, Hiren.
Hi, Harsha. How are you? Long time.
I'm good.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Really.
Yeah, it was